Hello beautiful people. So it is Sunday, June, fell out of my head, 6th or 7th. Yeah, following dates well today. And I have committed to making a vlog post every Sunday in June. So I'm here. I am watching a wasp go in and out behind my cushion of my swing that I haven't used in a week, and hoping that somebody hasn't been building back there, because that is not going to go over well. I've had an eventful week of not getting much done on the big to-do lists. The kids have been pulling crystals out of the driveway. They spread the rest of the rock that they were, the crushed rock that they used when they redid the foundation, when they did the foundation work. They put crushed rock down for drainage and stuff, and then they used the rest of it to redo our driveway, because we had a gravel driveway. And the kids are finding quartz crystals all up in the crushed rock, so that's been exciting. Everybody's got their own little, like, they're mostly lids from the clear lids from like Dairy Queen birthday cakes and store-bought birthday cakes and stuff. Are pretty versatile tool we use here, because you can quickly cover things. There was frost last week, or early in the week. Is that the same week? There's frost, so we've been using those to cover the few plants that are frost sensitive that have actually made it out. Mostly it was just tobacco got covered. And then we got, so we used them for that. I also used them for carrying small amounts of water, because our outdoor water tap doesn't work at the moment, so it's seized open, so we have to turn it on and off inside, and I'm too short to reach it, so I can only turn the hose on when my spouse is home. So I use it. He fills me a couple buckets, and then I'm watering from the buckets with the little lids, but now they're all filled with crystals divided by person who found them. So and there's some really nice chunks of quartz in there, I have to admit. So we have the crystal driveway. So that's one of the main things that's been going on. We also had an injury in the house. Our dog Frecky ended up, we've been keeping the harness on her, and we'd had the harness, a friend had adjusted her harness because it was a bit loose, but we've been keeping it on her because I can't physically restrain her without something. Letting her learn how to be loose, because she's got hound in her, and she used to bolt at squirrels and stuff, but she's mellowed out a lot more. So we've been working on training her to be off leash in our backyard, or working on training me to be aware enough to keep her on leash in the backyard. It's usually she just wants to lay in the sun, because the chain that we used to keep her from bolting, it broke, which is understandable based on its age. So we were, especially with the construction, we were keeping the harness so she wouldn't bolt and run after people, because that's my biggest fear, is that she's a big, scary looking dog, and someone's going to get scared of her, and she's very loud and barky, and if, you know, the fear is there. I mean, you could shove your hand down her throat and she'd be fine, and she just wants to, like, be greeted and cuddled. But you don't know that, and I don't know that, and I don't want my dog to bite anybody, because that's my responsibility. So my ability to restrain her was important, but unfortunately she had a cut, and she hit it very well from us. Its location was not visible at all, or my normal, like, rub downs. You'd have to, like, lift her arm and, like, gear into it and to see it. And the only reason I noticed after having, oh yeah, we had a house fire. No, I just had a grease fire in the kitchen, because I went to grease my pan when it was too hot, my cast iron. I dried it off, and I went to put grease on it, and I miscalculated how hot it was, and it flash burned. But we put that out. So once the smell of smoke had dissipated, the smell of the dog was quite evident, and, you know, it took me about 12 hours to put two together to, like, corner her in the bathroom and give her a full body inspection and discover the deep gash. then wake my husband up at 3 o'clock in the morning. No, it was probably closer to 6 o'clock in the morning. Be like, we need to take the dog to the vet. And she did end up getting 5 stitches, and she is healing well. She did scratch at it, but now she's just wearing one of the kids' t-shirts, looking all fashionable, and Elsa on a shirt. And yeah, so that's been our week. It's been a busy week. I didn't realize how busy it was. That's why we're doing this. Yeah, I have been excited in the garden. A friend dropped off some volunteer tomato plants. You should not be going back there. Oh, I'm gonna have to go. No, humans live here. No, seriously, if you're building back there, Beba, no, it's not gonna work. I'm gonna rip these cushions off and have to shoo you off. So whatever you got in there, excavate it, because no, seriously, no. I was talking. Oh yeah, so I got some tomato plants planted. I put them, it took me a while to figure out, I put them at the side of the house where it's gonna get full sun all summer this year. And I figured that way it's annuals, because I'm still really hoping the lilac's gonna come back. Everything that was grown around the house had grown in the last 5 years since we've been here. So it will very easily get a hedge around the house again. We probably won't be here for that, but I'd like to at least get it started before someone comes and starts putting stuff. The mint has a raspberry in it, which is good. There's a couple raspberries that I've seen around, in grapes I've seen around that have been dropped by the birds. Bird planted versus human planted. But the trees are very shockingly invading my garden because of where they were very badly attacked by the excavator. So they've just moved in via the root system to the other section where my garden is, and it's been shaded out over the last 5 years. There was no trees around it, and now it's surrounded by trees. So I'm gonna have to have a talk and figure out what we're doing there. I might just, it's still getting 4 or 5 hours of full sun for now, but it won't by the end of the season. So we'll have to figure out what are we gonna do. But I have a bunch of potatoes that have gone seedy. There's a bag that got shoved in a corner and forgotten. It's the real life. So I was thinking of just popping some the potatoes in there. But I also wanted to grow squash. I have tons of squash seed and beans. Theoretically, I want to grow corn. I'd like to do a mound somewhere, but I don't know where to do it or what to do. It hasn't figured itself out for you, so I'll just keep thinking on it. Hey, look, there's some flowering vetch over there. See, that's what being out here does. You get to see all the things. There's buttercups for the first time in my lawn, but my lawn hasn't been allowed to get this tall, so there might have been buttercups that I missed. The plantain is recovered quite a bit. All the grass has gone to seed. All about the dandelions have gone to seed. There's a lot of life in my backyard right now, so we're just trying to figure out what to do with everybody that's here, that's showing up. We've had bindweed show up, and bindweed has always stayed basically in the ditch outside, and I kind of wanted it because it is a traditional, hey Bumble, it is a traditional hedge plant, but it's also a noxious weed. So I'm like, I gotta invite you in. Most of the plants I work with, most of the plants on my property here are all showed up. And I find that the plants I need always show up when I need them. So as I discover what gardening is for me, it's very much a process of seeing who's here and what it is they have to offer versus deep thinking about what is going to happen. And I'm not very controlling. And then making it happen. There's some here to see, but there's not a lot. Most of what I plant is I will try or is gifted. Like even the annuals and stuff. everything that shows up is gifted to me, and then I'm making do with it. So at any point I can change that process, but that's definitely part of my process. I'm just looking over here, and there's a plant I don't recognize growing that keeps drawing my attention. It's got really broad leaves. It's not quite the right leaves for wild parsnip or wild carrot, but it's similar. But I'm wondering who it is. There's a couple of different plants growing over here that I don't recognize. So what you do, you make space and people move in. But I do see yarrows growing here, and I'm looking forward to seeing the yarrow flowers coming up. And yeah, look, I put bug spray on, but I didn't put bug spray on the bottoms of my feet and took my shoes off. So that is what's going on. I suppose I should tell you what the plans are for next week. I don't know what they are, so I haven't gotten that far in my process. This is the space I have to make this video, so I'm doing it because that's my commitment. I am aware that early content is not always the best content, and I'm still finding my flow, just like in the gardening. How I'm starting to find my flow and realizing that actually my co-creative process with the plants is the plants come how and when I need them. I am missing my protective barriers of my bush hedges around my house. So who's going to show up? Bindweed, classic hedge, witchy protective, come and surround my house with it. So it's just one example of the process that is my process, and finding the resonance with what that is and the acceptance versus the stories and boxes of which other people's processes are, and experimenting and seeing and trying on other people's processes, because that's how humans communicate and learn. We are communities. It's going to be a very interesting week, I think. I don't have any really big plans, but I was thrown off guard that today is Matt's day off. I expect to be doing this video with the kids running around in the backyard because they need to get their outdoor time in now before it's too hot to exist in the sun, or in the evening, or we've now hit the stage of summer where it's either too sunny or too buggy to be comfortable without precautions. But I mean, that's the same as winter. I know too, you know, there's no such thing as bad weather, just ill-equipped. But I look forward to giving you an update about what's going on or happen next week. If you have any ideas of what we should do, you're very welcome to drop them in the comments. If there's anything you would like to know more about, or like a video on specific, I did try and do a video of a house tour, and it was full of screaming children, despite the fact that they were in the house. So that will be, I still have to navigate how to do non-screaming children. And these cushions are on their last year. The sun is a powerful, powerful being. But yeah, thank you for joining me for this video and this vlog, and drop a comment, let me know you watched it, and I look forward to hearing from you. I look forward to sharing more with you about how this summer unfolds. I am still hoping to make some rhubarb candy this week. I think that was my plan last week, but it just never unfolded. But we'll catch you on the unfolding, and have a great week. Much love. You got this. That's a crying baby.